Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm glad you can join me again. So I want to go over some key things from last week's trading, as well as go over the major things to worry about in this upcoming week to help prepare you for your trading. This week, I'm not drinking in the dark because it's actually Sunday morning and I got myself a polar seltzer. I love seltzer water. Anyway, let's get started. So the key things I want to kind of talk about last week, I don't think any of the earnings were too major of a surprise, but I do want to talk about Amazon because Amazon sold off really hard. I'm not quite sure if this is in regards to Jeff Bezos's penis rocket ship or in regards to Amazon itself as its own separate company. But essentially, a lot of the coronavirus-driven sales that Amazon had witnessed had actually staggered off. But anyway, that was the main reason we saw a sell-off in the markets as a whole on Friday. Amazon is just such a bellwether company that it will affect the overall markets. It makes up a large portion of the S&P as a single company. So I wouldn't read too much into this. I wish we have a correction, but and we have a lot of bad news, but the market just shrugs everything off. This is a tape unlike any other tape in history. So on Friday, although the tape was weak, there was good reasons for the tape to be weak. We'll see how this week plays out. The other thing I kind of want to talk about was the Robinhood IPO in terms of individual stocks. Robinhood did IPO last week. The performance was actually pretty bad as valuations came into consideration. Also, I think a lot of people don't like Vlad Tenev, the CEO. Especially his relation to everything that was happening with AMC, GameStop. People kind of realize his business model now. A while back, I felt like only a select few people knew how Robinhood made its money. That's why I never trade on Robinhood, to be honest with you. But very few people knew how Robinhood made its money. But now people are like, okay, yeah, my trades are free, but maybe I'm not getting the best fills. My privacy is being sold to Ken Griffin and Citadel and all these other companies that are trying to figure out how to bet against me to the microsecond. So some of what you see might be that. Some of it might be valuations, but some of it might be the fact that Robinhood's greatest financier, or the people that pay for Robinhood services, who actually bring revenue into the company, like Ken Griffin's Citadel, they're in some financial hurt right now. No one knows to what extent this is, but they are taking a beating on some of the short positions on AMC, GameStop. Honestly, with the dark pool activity, no one knows to what extent those losses are yet. They're able to hide them on off-book transactions. Anyway, this isn't really about all that. I just wanted to do a quick topic on why I think Robinhood's IPO essentially flopped, especially when you look at some of the other IPOs that were probably equally, if not more, overvalued from last year, like DoorDash, like Airbnb and Snowflake. So this IPO, all I can say with IPOs for the moment is I don't think valuations matter. And I keep reiterating this. I don't think valuations matter. They're out the door. So just focus on the tape. They're going to be very volatile for a while, and they're going to be very trade friendly, but as trades, not as investments. Anyway, let's move on. I talked enough about that. Ticker symbol HOOD, just pay attention to it. I don't know if there's enough action yet to justify really talking about it too much on the Sunday show going forward. A couple other things I want to talk about. There's definitely been a long-term feel of lack of two-sided action. What I mean by that is there's just buying going on. There's very little selling. Even on Friday, that really wasn't a sell-off. People, if you're panicking over 23-point drop in the S&P, then shame on you. The market really hasn't been working the way it normally does for a while. You know, a lot of people say this is going to end bad, this is going to end bad, but I felt like it should have ended bad several hundred points ago. And I think the only way to trade this market is essentially you have to follow the tape on at least an every other day basis, really watch what's happening and make decisions accordingly. So you have to be an active trader, I feel like, is in this type of market. The other things I want to talk about is there's been a crash in Chinese stocks. So we had stocks that I used to talk about, PDD, JD, NEO. These were all great trades last week. I think they're still going to be very volatile. So watch NEO and PDD especially. I bought these dips. They turned out to be very profitable. I'm already out of the trades, but I might be actively trading them because China is having a bit of a crackdown on their overall markets, on their overall, the way they're pricing their securities and things like that. This is causing a huge crash in a lot of the Chinese stocks, dropping more than 30%. Look at PDD, it's down well over 50% since like within a year. And it's actually, be careful about investing in all these names. Chinese have completely different rules and regulations. They don't have the SEC to protect a lot of investors like we have here. And it's kind of like the wild, wild west. So if you do trade these, if you're not out of it, if you're not flat by the end of the day, try to buy options contracts on some of these names instead, okay? Anyway, you don't, and the reason I'm saying this, remember Luckin Coffee, a company that was committing fraud and their investors were left holding the bag. This could be the same case for a lot of other Chinese stocks. I just don't trust these ADRs that much to really be an overnight holder in a lot of these names. I can hold NEO time to time, but my sizing is sized accordingly for that purpose. Anyway, we have one more thing that I want to talk about in regards to the overall markets before we go into earnings. We have a government debt ceiling. I wouldn't freak out too much about that, where this was set back in 2019 to kind of operate up until now. And we're kind of hitting that threshold. I think that was on Saturday, this past Saturday, where a lot of that, they need to reset numbers for this government debt ceiling. And although I do think this is going to bring in volatility to the market, this is nothing like what we experienced with COVID. It's unlikely this is going to, you know, cause a huge crash. It might add volatility once again, but let's be real here. The people in the Senate are going to find some way to vote in something to keep their jobs. They love their cushy, high-paid jobs where they do nothing, accomplish nothing, and honestly don't really seem like they're helping the American people in any way, shape, or form. But they're going to vote themselves in a way that keeps them in their jobs for as long as possible. Anyway, moving along, we have the Delta variant. That is something I'm watching. But once again, what I'm worried about in the market is just straight valuations. I'm not that worried about these exogenous factors. I am worried about the Delta variant more than the government debt. You know, I do think the market is overvalued, but I just trade on a day-to-day basis now. In regards to the Delta variant, I think the resolution is just get everyone vaccinated. I know there's a lot of people up against that. Now, because I already talked about basically 6 tickers that have the most amount of action already in the markets, I'm going to rapidly run through earnings. These do not include penny stocks or one-offs. These are essentially the stocks that I expect the most action just based on historical trends during earnings season. Stuff that I think if you're going to trade for the day, these are the tickers to watch. And even if the earnings is that night, you can still trade them the same day of, just in the anticipation of earnings provides a lot of action as people reposition. Anyway, on Monday we have HSBC and RMBS. Those are the only 2 names I'm watching, HSBC and RMBS. RMBS is kind of a new one. I just feel like it has a lot of action. I've noticed it having a lot of action during earnings announcements. So watch those 2 tickers. I'm leaving out a lot of tickers, guys, because just the 6 I mentioned before have a lot of action alone. Okay, so on Tuesday, Akamai, Lyft, and Wynn stock. Those are the three names I would watch. I live in Las Vegas. I love Wynn. I love to gamble. Akamai, the tech name, and Lyft, the car company. Let me adjust my screen here really quick and go over my notes. On Wednesday, we have Uber, we have GM, we have Roku. Roku might be the big trade of the week. I love the trade in general of Roku. It has a very high valuation, but it makes for a lot of action. Anyway, on Wednesday, we still have Cuervo, QRVO. It's kind of a new one. I haven't really talked about it much. Pay attention to it. It's actually not the worst investment either. But I would really follow that for this earnings. We can see a lot of action here. And Fastly, FSLY. I used to talk about this before, and this stock can move up and down really fast. So watch Fastly and pay attention to that. Thursday, the big one. Okay, I lied. Roku is probably not the big one of the week. Moderna. Moderna is the single stock that seems to just have a relentless run higher and just insane amounts of action behind it. I think you can play this stock both ways. I would be scared to short sell AMC, honestly, but Moderna can have action both ways. So follow this name. Let's see how it performs. And when I say action both ways, I mean if certain stocks, if they start the day higher, they can end the day even more higher. Or if they start the day lower, gapping down, gapping up, gapping down in this case, start the day lower, they can end up lower, even lower for the day. So short if it's already down, buy if it's already, but follow the tape because obviously things can reverse very quickly and very violently. So on Thursday, Moderna, Square, Datadog, Viacom, Noravax, Zillow, Plug, and Shack. So a lot of tickers hitting you in the face on Thursday. And then on Friday, we just have DraftKings. So I don't want to talk too much about every ticker in detail, but on Thursday, I would really pay attention to Moderna, Square. And if you want slightly less volatility, pay attention to Shack and also Plug. So, well, Plug's a very volatile one, but the price of Plug isn't insane, so you might be more comfortable. Friday, we have DraftKings, and that's more or less it for this week. I'm not really following any of the IPOs. Fuck that. I'm following the trades that might make me some money this week. Be prepared to play both sides of a lot of these names, but remember to just follow the tape and stay alive, and maybe I will see you next week. Thanks for watching, and till next time. Cheers.
I just want the money, money, money.